Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, but we should be able to get him in on the second segment where we talk a little bit about the poll rankings, and Sherry's not dead. So Tuesday will be our women's show when we look at the women's poll rankings as we get through basketball season. Thursday, you will see us turn over to the men's and focus on the poll rankings for the men's. We'll do that, as you know, we like to do over here, mid-major and major division. And that will carry us through the basketball season. As it's getting started, we just got into the major division, getting the conference play. We've been into the mid-majors a couple of weeks, and you'll see that reflected in the records. But as we like to say at the beginning of the show, welcome to episode 764. Of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, that is Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, who just got honored again in a beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. So shout out to Ralph Cooper, getting all the accolades he certainly deserves. With that being said, let's bring the rest of the team on board, as we'll bring in everybody up so we can check and see how they are doing today. On my side, we got back into the offices yesterday, so we're getting ready for another semester. Had Dean's Retreat, excited, a lot of good information going on here at Texas Southern University. We get rolling for spring 2026. So with all those that I had not heard me say it, Happy New Year. I will repeat it a couple of times, 2026, because my job requires that oftentimes I sign documents, and I'm just trying to make sure that I use 2026, not 2025. With that being said, just want to say I know there's a lot going on with the world. We're not ignoring that. We decided to focus on HBCU sports, but I do ask everybody to make sure that they're keeping informed, which means you need to read. Oftentimes, it means reading a little more than what you just find on social media. It doesn't also mean that you have to have the standard mainstream media. Make sure you're doing your homework, or trust somebody that you really know that spends a lot of times in the area that can continue to make sure that you're educated so you can take care of yourself and your family, your loved ones, importantly. With that being said, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency LLC is a company that provides sporting, educational, consulting, and data analytics. And as we open things up, let me first check out the guys here today. Charles Bishop, how are you doing today? I see you have the nice Texas Southern University vest on. Good job.
Yeah. Getting back in the spirit, Doc. Back in the spirit. Spring
you're trying to get to the classes. I see you ready for your first lecture. Look at
ready to rock. And then public health note. Go get your flu shot. There's a nasty strain out there. That's grabbing a lot of people. I'm trying to fight through it, but some little bug. But yeah, make sure you go get your flu shot.
Yeah, I just fought through it, and it happened over Christmas holidays. I was like, what the time? This is my time. And they was like, no, we gonna take your time. Anyway, let me go to you, AD Drew. How are you doing over there at the house? Literally at the house.
Yeah, go from the house from the house to the house. So no, it was fine. Like you said, Doc, getting back into the swing. But in my field, I spend time on campus when the rest of you guys are off campus and going on dean's retreats and class field trips and all that kind of stuff. Uh I I had a couple home basketball games, while wasn't nobody else around and everything. So I don't know about what y'all had on y'all campus, but we happen to have a few home games during this time. But Dr. Cavil, just give me a 30-second pitch on what is accomplished on the dean's retreat. What do y'all do besides I got more grants than you got this year.
No, that is part of it now. While deans are not necessarily athletes, and some of them have previously been athletes for that matter, but particularly our provost, who was golf coach at FAMU and won national championships. But oftentimes deans are very competitive. So we are looking at our numbers. Some people do it pure numbers. We're doing really well at Texas Southern University with percentage growth, I must say, in terms of the college education. And oftentimes, who gets reports in and who has on top of the reports. And I'm the type of person that will stick it to folks and be like, somebody will say something about college education. We like to say premier college education over here. I'll be like, did somebody say something about the college education? And everybody will crack up. So it's we try to have some humbling, but it's pretty serious. We're looking at a lot of metrics, a lot of numbers. How do we make sure we're doing things for our students, class enrollment, things that we're looking at, class size, because there's money from the states attributed to that. We also look at class don't make unless it's on your schedule. You have low numbers in a particular class because it costs you. You need to drop those classes. So a lot of it early on right now is metric works. There's also obviously an update of what took place in the fall in terms of where we are with numbers that we report state, federal, to each other, to the board, and things of that nature. So I know that's probably a little longer than 30 seconds and bored the hell out of a lot of folks. But anyway. Wilton, what about yourself?
Doc, I'm doing good. I'm glad to see another year. 2025 was a great year. I'm excited about a positive 2026. And man,
that's right.
I'm just excited.
I will say this, you don't have to go in detail, but I like the digs. It's a nice little look. You always find a way to look sharp. Yeah. So I'll tell you that. You're looking good, brother. Looking good. Keep it up.
No, I appreciate it.
Looking well. It looked like you still, throw a football, bounce a basketball.
A little bit, not too much.
So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's get into some of our news so we get some news updates quickly before I take our first break. Starting with you, Charles, what's on your mind? What's out there that kind of has you tickled in terms of this week as we get into conference play for the major division?
Well, let's actually take a look at some weekly honors as we take a look at the MEAC as they announced their weekly honors for women's basketball as Coppin State's Kalia Morris was named the MEAC Player of the Week. Delaware State guard Amaya Scott was named the Rookie of the Week. And Howard Ford Niall Miller, she earned the Defensive Player of the Week, respectively. So let's take a look at the numbers. When we take a look at Kalia Morris, 5'11 senior, delivered a career-high 26 points, including the game-winning layup against Delaware State, adding 13 rebounds and 3 steals to lead Coppin State to a 1-0 start in conference play. We take a look at Amaya Scott. Scott contributed 21 points along with 3 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 steals against New Jersey Institute of Technology. She followed that with a performance of 16 points and 4 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 steals against Coppin State. On the week, Scott averaged 18.5 points, 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds in 2 games for Delaware State. And finally, the Defensive Player of the Week, Niall Miller, registered 15 rebounds, 6 steals, and 2 blocks while adding 23 points in a 1-1 week for the Howard Bison.
Shout out to the MEAC Women Players of the Week. Good job, man. A lot of excitement there. Wilton, since you came in here stunning everybody and stunting on everybody, I'm going to let you go next.
This man. I'm gonna talk about Savannah State.
At least it's not Mike. You know.
Nah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Savannah State players to protest game due to scores table dispute and this comes from HBCUsports.com. A controversial ending has sparked debate across the HBCU basketball landscape after Savannah State dropped a tightly contested 64-62 decision to Morehouse College on Saturday night at Forbes Arena. Savannah State says it will prepare an official protest with the SIAC. The dispute centers on a scoring error that occurred late in the first half, an issue Savannah State head coach Cleveland Thompson believes directly impacted the outcome of the game. With 11 minutes remaining before halftime and Savannah State trailing 18-15 following an under 12 media timeout, Morehouse turned the ball over. Tigers guard Michael Swift converted a layup in transition, a basket that should have cut the deficit to 1. However, the scoreboard never reflected the made field goal. Moments later, Swift completed a three-point play at the free throw line, which should have tied the game at 18-all. Instead, the scoreboard showed Savannah State still trailing 18-16, effectively erasing 2 points that never reappeared. They had no explanation for us, Thompson said after the game via WSAV-TV. All they said was the table had it right, the same table that had been doing an awful job all night. With the final margin matching the disputed 2 points, Thompson said the Tigers have little choice but to pursue a formal protest. Known for typically accepting close losses without complaint, Thompson emphasized that the situation crossed the line. At the end of the day, I'll push my guys to do the best, and they did what they should tonight, he said. The other party should not be a part of the why. The controversy did not stop there. Another questionable moment unfolded in the first half when Swift made contact with Morehouse head coach Larry Dixon near the sideline. Officials awarded possession to Morehouse, ruling Swift stepped out of bounds. Video review, however, appeared to show Dixon's foot on the out-of-bounds line at the time of contact, a scenario that, under the rules, could warrant a technical foul on the coach. The loss carries added weight in the HBCU basketball race. Savannah State entered the game having won 4 of its previous 5 contests, but the defeat allowed Morehouse to move ahead of the Tigers into 3rd place in the SIAC East standings.
I will say this, that there is a official claim review, and then that's one side of the story. So I think we need to make sure that we put that there, that's one perspective on what took place. And we'll have more information as it comes out. With that being said, let's go into some additional news that I wanted to kind of share with everybody talking about the portal. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, are angsty either at the NCAA, which to me is a figment of the imagination, which is ran by coaches, ADs, and presidents. So that always is intriguing to me because people quickly say NCAA and they just are following the rules or operating based on what presidents, again, ADs and coaches have essentially voted on at some capacity. Another thing, they act like there isn't any coaches that actually push folks or push some of these college athletes into the portal. So people just simply ignore that is a true thing that happens, that all these players are not just going in the portal because they have visions of grandeur, whether they do or not. Oftentimes it's coaches that are deciding to push them into these portals. So I just wanted to provide a different perspective and make sure people understood that. With that, let's take our first break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll get into the poll ranking because I'm going to talk about a little Wilton because we said before the show, but he got a little excited. Anyway, we'll be right back after this break.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Into these colleges, and we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
Now, what about HBCUs? You mentioned
absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay. That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. To right. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's jump back into it. As I said, we're going to do the mid-major. This is what we considered week one. We started off associated with the major division when they first hit conference play. Do understand that you have a couple of games when you're at the NIE level. Actually, I shouldn't say a couple of games, several games for several weeks that are played when you talk about mid-major schools, whether it's NCAA Division II or the NAIA. And with our mid-major rankings for basketball, as we do for football, we put in both NCAA Division II and NAIA programs. So with that being said, let's pull it up and say if we can get into the women's side of basketball and see who's hot and who's not. Be interesting. There's some folks that you know that are fans of the institution that are very exciting what's taking place at the mid-major level. So as we do that, if we can bring it up a little bit, we'll get into it. As we are pulling that document up, we want to talk about what teams are in these conferences, if you would. That's obviously CIAA from the Division II side of things, SIAC that you're familiar with. Outside of football, we bring in HBCU AC program, which is the NAIA HBCU conference, a conference that has all HBCU members. They continue to grow as they brought in some schools that are first-year conference members this year, which will be interesting to see how that's going. And you see we're joined by Mike Washington as he is off assignment and back in the world of things. We're going over the mid-major rankings. As we're doing that, you also have Red River Athletic Conference, which has a couple of HBCUs. Several of them have left their conference for those that hadn't kept up with that. You have the Sooner Athletic Conference, which you'll hear quite a bit of because Langston is doing it, and they're back in the basketball business, both on the men's and women's side. And then, obviously, you have Florida Memorial down there in the Sun Conference and a couple of other ones, Washington, D.C., that are struggling that year. But we have no team dropping out because I do keep the rankings preseason. As we get into it, I just don't get into it as we get a little bit of muscle and really get you energized for basketball. So let's see who's receiving votes. Check this out. Paul Quinn, Lady Tigers, in at 9-3, 4-0 out of the HBCU Athletic Conference, playing some really good basketball as things get going. Also receiving votes outside of that top 5, Claflin. Lady Panthers sit at 7-2 and 3-0 coming out of the CIAA. We have Fayetteville State Broncos at 8-2, 2-1 in terms of what's taking place out of that CIAA. Along with Virginia State, Lady Trojans are 8-3, 2-1, 17 points. And then lastly, you have Lane Dragons out of the SIAC receiving votes at 8-2, 7-2, playing some good basketball. Let's get into the top 5 as that takes place. First team, we're going to stay in that area of Texas. Texas is playing some really good basketball. I think, particular HBCU-wise, you have the Wiley Lady Wildcats sitting at 9-2, 4-0. So you see they're tied with Paul Quinn in that division, undefeated at 4-0, getting it done. They come in at number 5. At number 4, you have Edward Water, the Lady Tigers, out of the SIAC, 9-3, 7-2. Just a stellar athletic program, and you see them getting done on the women's side. Be interesting to see what they do the remainder part of this season. Staying in that SIAC, yeah, Miles, the Lady Golden Bears. Golden Bears, they're 11-2, 9-1, 5-0, playing some really good basketball. Just one loss in conference race. Fascinating to see as they continue to play some good basketball. You have coming back into NAIA play, you have Langston Lions, sit at 12-2, 6-2, 3 first-place votes, 63 points at the 2 spot, doing it well. And then number 1, Stephen Gaither is smiling. He couldn't say about his Lady Rams there. Winston-Salem State sitting at 11-1, 1-0 in terms of just playing one conference game. You would, but they are 11-0. They have won 11 straight games, getting it done in a lot of ways. With that being said, let me go to you, AD. What are your thoughts in terms of the women top 5 in the rankings?
You know, it's tough for me with the women because I don't get a chance to watch a lot of the women play until later on because I have to concentrate on the men's side. But this the story, Winston-Salem, 11-1 is 11-1, Dr. Cavil. I don't care how you pull it off, what level you're playing, the fact that you opened up with 11 of your first 12. And Langston is Langston. I'm sorry, y'all. Langston is just Langston. King of the Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Lady Golden Bears. I mean, they just I don't know what it is. Nobody has figured them out in the SIAC the last 2 years. The way they looking right now, it might be a trifecta, y'all. So but it's early, but it gets late early around here. So we hope that these teams have not peaked too early. Let me leave a little meat on the bones for y'all, fellas.
Just a little. Wilton, let me go to you since he's not leaving a lot of meat. But I'll give you a chance to give your thoughts on this first week. A lot of things can jumble up, but you can see that these teams kind of have put themselves in a position early to show that they should be playing some good basketball. What are your thoughts in terms of the poll rankings in week number 1?
I'm not mad at the poll rankings for week number 1. A lot of these teams, to AD's point, we've seen over the years, specifically the last couple of years, do well. And one of them obviously is Miles. We've seen them do well, but I mean, I think the story of this entire top five right now is obviously Winston-Salem. Like, you can cut it 5 different ways. Like, it's Winston-Salem, Coach Terry, what she's doing with their program, the players that they have just playing at a high level. Maya Charles, you're talking about players like Michaela Waleed that are really having strong seasons so far, just to start off. And I think to AD's point as well, and really yours too, Doc, is just like making sure that this is just January. Like, this is the first week. Like, we know that a lot of times some of these teams start off really hot, and then by the time February hits, they may not have that same hot streak. And then certainly before you start talking about late February, that's when you want to be playing your best basketball.
Right.
Right then, right before you start the tournament to potentially, compete for that championship.
Yeah, conference play, particularly with a lot of these teams, to play home and away, or at least play half of the teams home and away, and others they split with a home and away. Yeah. I always call this the marathon. And then, the tournament where the Magic takes on, that's your sprint. So you have to have 2 styles of shoes if you go to that tennis vernacular. Charles, where are you? Do you think Winston-Salem State specifically could continue the work they're doing, or is another team in here that you're looking at that you believe that are going to continue to get it one, or is it both of them?
I take a look at it. I think, like you said, you mentioned Winston-Salem State. They had their early story thus far. You mentioned Maya Charles averaging almost a double-double, 14.9 and 9 rebounds a game. But what catches my eye is a team that's not on here is Virginia Union. Mm-hmm. That's the one that kind of caught my eye. They had won 7 in a row until they lost to Shaw this past week. So that the loss to Shaw at home, that kind of caught my eye. But as Wilton mentioned, it's early in the season. Very impressive when you take a look at what Wiley's done. Edward Waters, they're number 1 in the conference in defense. They're only surrendering 51 points per game. Very interesting with regards to Miles. They don't have a player in the top 25 in the scoring thus far in the SIAC. Very balanced scoring thus far. 3rd in the SIAC in offense and defense. So that's a well put together basketball team.
A lot of good points you made there, Charles. Let me go to you, Mike. Where are you going? What has your interest? Is it data points, or are you just looking at records?
A little of both. Here's my concern. And I don't want to seem like a hater. I really don't.
But you are.
But I am. This goes a little bit back to Charles's point. If Winston-Salem, God bless them. They play. Their last win was Mount Olive, which is a lacrosse school. They beat them by 40-some points. They beat Ferrum College. They beat University of Mount Olive. And if I look at Virginia Union's schedule, you just kind of eyeball it. There's no Concord universities. There's no Lees McCrae's. There's no schools that are stronger in other areas. So I give Winston-Salem credit with a 1 eyebrow raise when they get into the schedule. It's early. They will play Virginia Union in the first week of February. So, like I said, I don't want to seem like a Scrooge. But I want to see them deeper into the season because I'm looking at strength of schedule. Yes, if you look at all the statistics Charles mentioned, you look at who's leading the conference in scoring. That's the other eyebrow raise. But I think the jury's out. I hate to seem like a hater or a Scrooge, but I'm looking at the schedule for both, and I don't know why we're not also talking about Virginia Union.
Man, Christmas was a couple of weeks ago. You done brought it forward to the new year. Ram Nation says only losses to North Carolina A&T. He be damn your schedule. He said 11 in a row. Now what? But good points there, Mike. Seriously, when you break it down, those are things that are intriguing early. How much of your record is based on your schedule? And that could be good or bad.
Yeah.
And then Edwin loves your comment about lacrosse. Yeah, Mike. He said a little bit of both. He said a little bit of both. He was going to get record with that.
Yes, their only losses to North Carolina A&T, but they got wins on Converse, Concord, Lees McCrae, Ferris. My sons play in that division for lacrosse. Their basketball teams are not really well known. They're lacrosse schools. They're other schools. So let's look at the schedule. Yes, they did lose to North Carolina A&T, but in the other schools, I'm kind of scratching my head on that.
I like that. Oh, he's a Coach Terry's former team is Virginia Union. I did forget that she left Virginia Union to come to Winston-Salem State. Great point made there. With that being said, I'm always fascinated when we wrap it up, and the fact that when we turn from football to basketball, we have a lot more teams at the NIA level that are playing basketball, and it means a lot more opportunity for them to get rank and recognition and poll ranking. So I'm always intrigued about this NCAA Division II and NEIA. Folks have different thought processes, slight difference in the scholarship, but fascinating what that looks like. With that being said, let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side and turn it to the major division where they just got into conference play. I just found out and realized, I'll add this to it, that the MEAC has actually changed their schedule similar to what the SWAC started doing last year. On Thursdays, you have just the women games. You have the double hitters on Saturdays, and now on Mondays, you just have the men's game. So fascinating that the MEAC coaches, ADs, VPs of athletics, and commission decided to follow the lead of SWAC. We'll see what that looks like. Drew?
Dr. Holloman, Jackie McWilliams, Parker, don't pay no attention what them folk doing up there on the big boy level. Y'all stay with what y'all doing.
Great point. Great point. We are here to be sounding boards. We talk to business about it too. Let's take our second break and come back on the other side and talk about the major division. This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2026? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 30th to February 1st, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, A.D. Drew, Wilton Jackson II. With that being said, it's time to flip over and talk about the one that A.D. reminded the Division II HBCU ADs not to worry about. But we gotta at least talk a little bit about
I'm just talking about that Thursday, Saturday, Monday stuff. You know,
I knew exactly what you were referencing.
I don't need to pay
Actually
attention to
made
all
sense.
that, man.
I was just teasing out about we're gonna turn the page and talk to them about what they're doing on the basketball field. I mean, on the
don't back up. Back your statement up, man. Don't crawdad. Back your statement up, man. Come on. Stop.
I did think he got a little sensitive. We good. I'm gonna let him make it. Drop me out this week as we get into it to make sure y'all have more time to really talk about the basketball on the court, as I wanted to say a while ago. Alabama A&M Bulldogs are 1-1. You know, they came in with a lot of folks picked second conference overall, stumbled a little bit. It was on the road, but they bounced back. It'll be interesting to see what the guys think about this as they drop out of the top 5. With that, let's see about those receiving some votes this week. We have Alabama A&M, the Bulldogs, right there outside of it, so they didn't drop far. 1-1 with 39 points. Maryland Eastern Shore Eagles have jumped out at 1-0. Surprised some people, probably 32 points. You have Texas Southern Tigers, got a big victory on the road. They split, as they say in this part of things that the major deliver, and really any conference. Oftentimes you want to split on the road unless you can get it rolling and certainly take care of business at home. Well, they did just that. Alcorn State Braves got a big rivalry victory in terms of getting it done. They were on the road with that game, which makes it even better for them. 18 points, and then you have Grambling State that was part of that split, are outside that top 5, closing out things overall top 10 programs. At this time in week number 1, they sit at 1-1. Let's look at the top 5 and see who's taking care of business. Alabama State with their new coach, and that should be the Hornets, obviously, sit at 2-0, 49 points. Not ranked, but they jump in there as Alabama A&M falls out. Interesting to see what that looks like as we move forward in the season. Outside of the SWAC and MEAC, we have Hampton Pirates. They sit at 1-1. That's in the Colonial, now known as the Coastal, CAA. 5-7. 57 points. They were 5, so they moved up a spot in week number 1. At number 3, Norfolk State Spartans. Bounce back big way. New coach, but all the same, butt kicking going on, it seems, for the Spartans of Norfolk State. 61 points. They do remain at that 3rd spot. Number 2, Southern Jaguars. Solid preseason, and they come in and get it done early, making a bit of a statement. They're 2-0, 73 points, sit in that 2nd spot. Howard Bison, women had a tough game, but they are doing it. They have 1-0, all 8 first-place votes sitting at 80 points. They're getting it done. Some people may say that 5-3, really when you talk about Southern Jaguars, getting 3 of the first-place votes. But with that being said, I'm going to start off with you, Mike, on this round of the major division for the women. Where are you with the poll rankings in week number 1?
So I will say that I'm okay. Excuse my voice, folks. I'm trying to get rid of this stuff. I'm okay with 1, 2, and 3. It's the beginning of the season. The part or the challenge I have is Hampton. So, and then Alabama State, the ladies from Alabama State. So why are they not above? They are number 2, 2-0. They played a lot of close games, so those would be the only 2 that you could switch. Alabama State and Hampton came in highly rated. They played some. They lost some, but if you look at their last 3 or 4. They came in strong against Pine Bluff, against Valley. They didn't do well against LSU and Mississippi State. I still think their level of competition, I still think they should be in the top four, top 3 or 4. Look out, that's one of the few teams I've seen play. And to be honest, I know you don't like it, but they meet the test as well.
Good stuff there, Mike. When you talk about the top 5, interesting that you see some changes that you would make there. With that being said, let me just go up the ladder here. Wilton Jackson II, what are your thoughts in terms of the poll rankings?
So I'm okay with a good portion of these teams for sure. 1, 2, and 3. These are the teams that, for the most part, right now, I would see being in these spots. I would have maybe given a little bit more prevalence to Southern at number 1 versus Howard at number 1. I would have switched 1 and 2, put Southern at number 1 and Howard at number 2. But either way, you can make a case for both of them right now because, again, the beauty of it is it's the beginning of conference play. Norfolk State. I'm really interested to see how that team continues to unfold now that their coach Larry Vickers, of course, is at Auburn. To see how they still come together as a team. I'm gonna kind of take a piece from Mike too. I probably would have put Alabama State above Hampton for me at number 4. Okay. But we'll learn some stuff about Alabama State this week because they have a game against Alcorn, and for those that might have forgotten, Nakia Cheatham is still at Alcorn and she's still giving buckets.
She is getting buckets.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you before we move it up, what is your preference with Southern over Howard? What is the edge that you're using? Because you said you'd give a slight edge.
So the non-conference.
I can see that.
Yep, that's my biggest thing. And again,
major BCS wins.
You can only play the teams that's on your schedule, but the fact that Southern, not only did they play these other teams contested, they made it competitive. They actually won these games, and so I feel like that would give me the slight nod to them, especially. And it will also count when you start talking about tournament time later on. Should they continue to be well in conference play?
They do have those 2 wins over Big 12 teams.
Yeah.
To your point, Charles, what are your thoughts?
For me, I'm like Wilton. I would have probably flip-flopped Southern and Howard. Although Howard does have some good out-of-conference wins, I think one against Cincinnati, another against George Washington. But Southern, just take a look at what they did to Texas Southern the other night. That's a Texas Southern team. They can score. They have some players, Talia Longwood, Deja Holmes, Aaliyah Henderson. They all can put the ball in the goal. And they held Texas Southern only 45 points. And the bigger thing I made sure to look at the box score was the number of turnovers. And they normally do a really good job of turning over the point guard. And sure enough, this past weekend, Aaliyah Henderson, Texas Southern point guard, had 7 turnovers. So again, Southern does it with defense. You never see them having a leading scorer in the conference. They're just a solid overall team. So impressive win this past weekend with Southern.
Good stuff. AD Drew. Good stuff, Charles.
I thought I need clarification. Do we count non-conference or do we not count non-conference with doing this particular poll?
It's a week-to-week poll, but early on, some of the marketing is not necessarily to sow the overall ranking because some teams, frankly, don't have winning records. But most folks, in terms of what they're voting the entirety. They're looking at the body of work as well as what took place this past weekend. So a little bit of combination of the two. Really good question for the viewers out there.
Here's the milk carton section of this conversation. Have you seen Help Me Find? Help me find Maryland Eastern Shore. Help me find Alcorn State. Just 2 teams that maybe should be somewhere in that top 5 on the women's side somewhere. I have no problem with 1, 2, and 3. I don't necessarily like the order. I'm kind of like Wilton. I think Southern would be number 1, Howard 2. Norfolk is good where they're at. Can't make a case about Norfolk going up, but I mean, I'm be honest. I like Maryland Eastern Shore and possibly Alcorn in those last two slots right now if we're going to look at what you did coming into the SWAC/MEAC play. I'll just leave it right there.
I like that though. So when you talk about the Maryland Eastern Shore Hawks in terms of, you like not only that they jumped off with that victory, big solid one in terms of the conference play, but what they've done with some of their matchups in non-conference play as well.
Correct.
With that being
and
said,
the same thing with Alcorn.
Good point there too. Let's take our last break. We'll come back on the other side, talk about some of the key matchups coming up this weekend, as well as starting things off Thursday, and maybe stab our toe about what we'll look at on the show on Thursday on the mid side, anything that got these gentlemen's eyes open or excited. We'll be right back after this last break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
It's the 37th annual Zora Festival. It's in Edenville, Florida, Saturday, January 31st and February the 1st. On Saturday, the all-white party tribute to Frankie Beverly with bass guitarist Jubu. Bread, Sunset, and Taisha Williams. And on Sunday, the Line Dance Party Live with Jeter Jones, Mike Clark Jr., and Boss Lady Coco. Tickets available at zorafestival.org.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson II, and AD Drew. With that being said, let me tell you what's on the calendar for this week so you can kind of understand what to look out for. We have a game tonight where we have Virginia Union. They are on the road at Shaw. That's a 6 o'clock game, and that is Eastern Standard Time. So they're at it now. You have a Bluefield State at Winston-Salem State. That's tomorrow. And then on Thursday, you have a slew of games. You have Virginia Union at Livingston, Elizabeth City State on the road at Johnson C. Smith. You have Virginia Union back at it. They're at Fayetteville State. You have Lincoln, Pennsylvania at Shaw. And then you have Bowie State at Claflin. You round things off on Saturday with all the games as well. Bowie State at Fayetteville State, Virginia State at Johnson C. Smith, Bluefield at Livingston, Elizabeth City State at Winston-Salem State, Bluefield at Livingston, and Lincoln at Claflin. You talk about that in terms of the schedule for the women and the SIAC. Give you a couple of games to keep your eyes on. Things are really getting into the mix. Thursday, you have several games here with Kentucky State at Albany State, Central State at Spring Hill. You have Clark Atlanta, Edward Waters, Fort Valley State at Savannah State, Lemoyne Owen at Tuskegee, Lane at Miles to close it out. That is Thursday. And then you have your Saturday. That is Clark Atlanta at Savannah State, Central State at Albany State, Kentucky State is at Spring Hill, Lemoyne Owens is at Miles, while Fort Valley State travels to Edward Waters and Lane travels to Tuskegee. So those are your games for Thursday and Saturday and this week as you break it down in CIAA. Any thoughts on any matchups at the mid-major that stays in your mind? Charles?
I'm a little curious with regards to Virginia Union. They're sitting just out the top 5, and I made mention of them losing to Shaw. I understand they're taking on Shaw again tonight.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the one that jumps out for me because they lost that game at home. So I want to see it turn about as fair play in terms of trying to get that W on the road at Shaw.
Mike, anything standing out for you?
Yeah, I guess the one CB mentioned, but who is Clark Atlanta playing?
Edward Waters.
Edward Waters.
That's the game.
What's to say? Let me help you out. That's what you want to focus on, Mike.
Yeah,
right.
That's the one. If I can't watch it, I'll be looking at it on my computer on the score, just to look at the score, see how they do. But that's the one, for whatever reason, that stands out to me.
Wilton, with that being said, what excites you about that game?
More so like when you start talking about Clark Atlanta and Edward Waters, these were two teams that were predicted in the beginning of the season, 1 and 2 on the SIAC side, on the women's side. Edward Waters has obviously a pretty solid scoring defense. So to be able to see will that carry in terms of them facing Clark Atlanta, we know Clark Atlanta has been a pretty solid team in recent years on the women's side per se. So I'm interested to see will this early season matchup be any type of implication for something to unfold later on when you start talking about the SIAC tournament.
And Wilton, I know you're closer to where is that game? I'm trying to look at that game.
It's at Edward Waters. It's on the road for Clark Atlanta.
On the road. Okay, that's what I was trying to verify. Yeah, it's on the road. Okay.
Yep.
Drew, what about you? What has you intrigued about this weekend, whether it's CIAA or SIAC?
If you're going to take the Clark Atlanta Edward Waters game on the women's side, take the Lane Tuskegee game. Mm-hmm. You know, Lane has become a power on the women's side of the SIAC. And with Lane and Tuskegee, talking about number 2 versus number 3 on the west side. So that's if you got Clark Atlanta Edward Waters on the east, you need to look at Lane Tuskegee on the west.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's get into it. Anything from you, Charles? As we get into it, let me give you the updates on the women's side for the major division, and then we'll stick with you in terms of that. You have A&T at Northeastern. And that is a Friday game. Then on Sunday, you have A&T at Stony Brook. You have Charleston traveling to Hampton. when you're talking about it in terms of the MEAC, you have Central at Morgan State, Delaware State at Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore. You spoke quite a bit about a couple of you all in terms of Norfolk State. That should be an intriguing one.
Yep.
South Carolina State at Coppin State. Then obviously that changes on Saturday where you have South Carolina State at Morgan State, Norfolk State at Delaware, Howard at Maryland Eastern Shore, and North Carolina Central at Coppin. In terms of the SWAC, with these games right around the corner on Thursday, we'll see about trying to do our show, at least myself from In the Dome. Charles will be on.
Wow.
I mean, not, but do HMPE. Down, go VU Women. Shaw 6360. Great update. WSS Ram. See, told y'all.
Who was on the Union train in segment 2?
I tried to tell y'all.
Who was on the Union train? I can't remember who that was in segment 2.
I mean, Union had won 7 in a row going into that game against Shaw and lost.
Yeah, I think Mike said a little something about that too.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Let me give you Thursday for SWAC. Let me say that again. You got Grambling at FAMU, Southern at Bethune-Cookman, Pine Bluff at Prairie View, Mississippi Valley at Texas Southern, Alcorn State at Alabama State, Jackson State at Alabama A&M. As you know, in the SWAC, it flips. So you have Jackson State at Alabama State, Mississippi State at Prairie View, Grambling at Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas Pine Bluff at Texas Southern, Alcorn State at Alabama A&M, and Southern at FAMU. Charles, I was picking on you, so I'm going to stick with you. Where are you going, whether it's MEAC, SWAC, both, jumping out of it in terms of the independents? Where are you in terms of what has you intrigued?
Intriguing this week, Thursday, Maryland Eastern Shore at Norfolk. That was intriguing to me. Jackson State and Alcorn making the Alabama swing. Those are the games that are intriguing, especially when you take a look at Alabama State starting off 2-0 in SWAC thus far. Alcorn slips in, gets the win at Jackson State. So, and then the bounce back from Alabama A&M against Mississippi Valley. So, Jackson State, this is an interesting weekend in terms of going to Alabama. I know it's early in the season, but you don't want to be down 0-3 coming out of this weekend.
Can I ask a question along that line?
0-3 when you talk about Mississippi and Alabama State, but yeah, I mean in Alabama. Go ahead.
And Charles kind of touched on it. Jackson State goes 0-4 in Alabama. Is Jackson State's season over with?
No, it's too early, but it's not. It's a hard one to climb, particularly if you're talking about being at the top of it. You still have a good shot getting that top 4 seeds. But yeah, it's a big hole. Good question in terms. I think it's a little too early. Usually I start having my eyes a little bit about game 7, 8.
A little bit after King Day.
Yep.
At the King holiday.
At the end of January.
Yeah.
With that being said, AD, any game that you're looking at based on those thoughts? It sounds like you're intrigued about that matchup a little bit.
Well,
but
yeah.
Has you intrigued?
Well, not to sound like a homer, but kind of along a homer, not the Simpson kind, but Fairview or Bethune make the swing through Louisiana. So for Florida A&M, coming back 0-3 after the Louisiana swing, the same question that I asked Charles about Jackson State, you guys might be asking that to me next week.
Yeah, I don't think it's over, but you're talking about a tough road down. Especially when you think about the following week. Well, you might get a little reprieve. You have to go on the road.
And we got the Rattler Killer coming off of that with Valley after we get done with this Louisiana swing. So the Rattler Killers out.
It wasn't us. We didn't say that, Rattler fan.
I said it.
Boy, I tell you.
Good stuff. Mike, where are you?
I'm still laughing at his comment about FAMU and Bethune. I mean, he's serious. FAMU is like 1 in a million. Come on. Like, who did they beat? Lynchburg?
Somebody D2.
Southeastern Louisiana. don't even have a girl. No, man. But anyway, I'm looking at the Maryland Eastern Shore, like I think it was Wilton. Maryland Eastern Shore, Norfolk State. But then Maryland Eastern Shore's got to come back and then play Howard. So that's your 1, 2, and 3 in the MEAC playing each other in about 4 days. Let's see what that washes out. Let's see what that looks like. Like I said, it's gonna wash out. I started looking at these after the King holiday, really. But this is
I like that. After the King holiday is when he takes a second look.
I'll take a second look. I'll tell you what's what. But yeah, those are the two games that really interest me.
That's a good point, Patrick. Ooh, back to me. I forgot about that. Good one. NC Rattler. With that, Wilton, take us home and let us know your final thought.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, Charles didn't leave no meat on the bone at all, So I'm just gonna give you a little gristle here and there, But I just say this
about the best meat.
Hey, I'm just saying. But Maryland Eastern Shore for sure in the MEAC, Maryland Eastern Shore, Norfolk State. That's obviously the biggest game to watch in the MEAC. From the SWAC side, keep an eye on Southern and Bethune-Cookman. Although we know Southern has had those two non-conference wins, marquee non-conference wins coming into conference play. Keep an eye on that one. And then, of course, Jackson State, Alabama A&M, Alcorn, Alabama State. This was I was at the girls' game. I didn't get a chance to stay for the men's game for Jackson State. They were up, and Alcorn came back. And it was pretty much a back and forth affair. And what I watched from that game from both teams, like if you remember, both of these teams really kind of started in an interesting spot last year. So that's why I say with AD, it's like if you lose these two games and if the Mississippi schools lose within this Alabama swing, is it done? I just can't say it's done yet because with basketball, it's just so much more still left to unfold. Teams are still learning themselves in terms of chemistry-wise, learning plays. Because I'm going to be honest, there were times that I saw the game that I was watching the game on Saturday where it looked like some sets weren't even being ran. Like it was just like we all out here just trying to score. And as you get more deeper into conference play, you learn about the players that's on your team. And that goes for every team. So like I said, just keep an eye on those games.
Yeah, Wilson, I told y'all
don't sleep on Wilson.
I was watching. I wasn't doing no reporting at that game, but I was watching.
Don't sleep on Wilton. I told you, don't sleep on Wilton. There's flavor in the gristle. I'm telling you.
It is.
Yeah. Yes, flavor in the gristle. Let me ask you this in terms of parting shots. What stood out to you in terms of this past weekend? You can do this men's or women's. Charles?
Mississippi Valley knocking off Alabama A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The women.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else, Wilton? That was the big one for you.
I'm gonna just say Deshaun Ruffin is a dog. That's all I got to say.
Terry and Joseph is a dog. Another.
He is. That was 1A and 1B.
1A and 1B. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly like that.
Boy, they put up 30 beat. Woo! That was good. Yeah, come on, Panthers. I can't wait to get to see home game this Saturday. Mike, what stood out to you?
That one, but I'm still I gotta go to FAMU, dude. FAMU is like 1-11. They lost to Bethune by 1. They lost to they barely beat Southeastern Louisiana, West Georgia, but I expected the FAM to be a little bit better than 1-11 overall or 0-1. So that stands out to me in addition to what was just stated. I don't want to take that. That meat's already taken off the bone.
AD, any final thoughts? I know this weekend you were taking care of family business, and again, condolences and prayers for all of you all involved in terms of having to deal with that. Any final thought that you want to share?
Yeah, I'll get you, Mike. I want to know what's wrong with FAMU too, man. I want to co-sign on that one, man. I actually, Doc, I want to yield my time. This comment came through early. I just wanted to bring that up on the screen. Do subscribe. They just wanted to shout you out, Doc.
I appreciate that. What's up with Joy Davis? What's up? Hey, how are you doing? Feeling the evening. My name is Miss Joy. My nickname is Mama Joy from Houston,
Mama
Texas.
Joy.
Your new subscriber. Mama Joy, I like that. Mama Joy, appreciate you. New subscriber jumping on with this. Talking about a new subscriber, I want to also shout out brother I met today, Alcorn State graduate working over here at Texas Southern University, made sure to stop me and said he checks out the show and likes what we're doing. So I wanted to give him a shout out and say thanks. Any other shout out?
Yeah.
Hey, Drew?
I was gonna say, I had a couple of my students who came into my office today and asked me about podcasting. All the students aren't back, but some of the athletes are back on campus and everything, getting ready.
Nice.
And I pulled up example of a podcast, and I pulled up this show, and she was like, "Oh, I remember them two guys because it was one of the students that I brought down to the Celebration Bowl to work with us and everything, that allowed them to do it." And it was me, Doc, and Charles on the clip that I had brought up. And she's like, "Oh, that's the guy from Texas Southern. That's the Jackson State guy." So I just like say, y'all two made an impression on my students there at Morehouse, man. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought you guys would get get so tickled with it. She was like, "Oh, that's why they was helping you out." I was like, "Yeah, I actually know these people. These ain't just people I hired off the street."
Exactly. I love it. Appreciate you sharing it. That is funny. We happens to us more than you think over here at Texas Southern University. I get a kick out of it, and students lighten up and living up in a lot of ways when they see that. So when we get a chance to celebrate our students, particularly those that have chosen to do their academic studies at HBCUs, we certainly appreciate them and certainly are doing everything to make sure that when they get a chance to get out in the world, that things are in their favor to continue to move things forward. I think you have something else there, Charles?
Yeah, I was just going to say happy belated Founders Day to you, Will.
I appreciate it.
Yes, belated Founders Day. Yeah. I'm glad he didn't put the cane in the
shimmy. So I had to work, so I ain't get a chance to do too much, shimmy yesterday. I did a little something, every now and then, but I had to work. So
were you good with the cane, or you just was a shimmy guy?
You said what now?
Were you good with the cane, or you just a shimmy guy?
Cane, okay, shimmy, cool. We good on. We good on.
Go ahead. Well, yeah.
You
do wish happy Founders Day. Certainly.
Happy Founders Day,
brothers out there.
Appreciate
it. Definitely happy Founders Day.
Appreciate
that being said, and to all the members of Capital outside out there, happy Founders Day. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop, as well as Wilton Jackson. Second AD, Drew. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Looking forward to the Indy Report returning tomorrow. We're going to, although we showed Wilton some love, we're going to give him a hard time for an open segment of the show, but we'll discuss.
Yeah, that was my fault. I'm gonna just put my head down, put my hands on mine.
That was hilarious. He's
like,
he was flowing with it too. With that being said, follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. Dr. Kenyatta Cavil is DrKenyattacavil. Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Before we get into it, I want to say, continue to check us out. I'm working on a project to update the lab a little bit at the home studios. We'll see if we can get it done before the Texas teams hit the road. See if we can give you some additional content. With that being said, Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
AD and Wilton?
Dismiss.
Good stuff. Take care.
I love it.